Hey guys, welcome to the Patchwork Granny Cardi tutorial. I'm going to go over a few things that we need to start off. You're going to need a 6.5mm hook. You're going to need some scissors, obviously your yarn. I don't have it with me, but you're going to need yarn, needle if you need it for weaving in ends, and a tape measure. So we have 5 measurements that we need for this pattern. Measurement A measures the top of your shoulder down to where you want your cardigan to end. Measurement B is your bust measurement, and it should be the largest part of your bust. Measurement C is going to be taking measurement B and dividing that number in half. The reason we do that is we're actually making 3 panels, but the idea is we are taking the bust measurement, cutting it in half, having half of the amount to be the back panel. So that's going to be the measurement for the back panel. And then measurement D is taking measurement C and dividing that by 3. So that is half, and we are taking that and dividing it by 3 because typically cardigans are 2 panels on the front, and that takes up 2/3 of the front. So we should have 1/3 of space open in the middle. And then measurement E is taking D and subtracting 1. So that is if you are using the continuous join as you go method. Basically, when you do that method, you're doing the last row of the granny squares while you're joining them. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 type of thing, but you need to make sure that you measure it out by subtracting 1 inch from your measurement to account for that, unless you want it to be super oversized, which is also good. So if you're new to creating granny squares, I'm going to just show you a simple one. These are not the sizes that are for the cardigan. I'm sure you can do this size and make like a little baby one, but this is just one for an example. So we're going to start off by taking one of our yarns. And this is always how I start granny squares. I just find it to be easier to do it this way as compared to the magic circle. So you're creating a slip knot. You're going to be chaining 4, and then you're going to be entering in the 4th stitch from your hook, and slip stitching. So you have what should be a little hole in the middle, chain 2, insert, and do a double crochet. So insert, pull through 2, pull through 2. And I always count on the granny square specifically the chain 3 as a double crochet, because otherwise I feel like it looks uneven. Then we're going to chain 2 and do 3 more. So another DC cluster. And we're just going to continue that until the end. Granny squares are very easy, very repetitive, super easy to increase. If you haven't done them before, it's the easiest thing ever. Beginner friendly. Alright, so then I chain 2 at the end of my 3rd. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 DC clusters. So then I join in the first one from the beginning, and I do a slip stitch, so that creates that. And then we bind off by snipping, and I always chain 2, and then I pull really tight and push that knot down, and I found that to be more secure than just doing, I don't know, anything else. So you continue that and do that for as many as you need. First, we're going to start off with the back panel. The back panel is going to be 1 large granny square. So for example, my measurement is 20 inches for measurement C. because we're taking the bust measurement. My bust is 40 inches and we're dividing that in half. So you are going to make, if that, for example, if that is your measurement, if your measurement, let's say, is 15 inches for measurement C, you're going to make this granny square to be 15 inches wide. As it's a square, it's going to be the same length long ways and the same width. So it will be a 15 by 15 square, for example. Once you're done with that, we are going to move on to the front panel. So for the back panel, we created that large square. You should have that completed. For the front panels, we are going to be creating however many squares that you need to create the length that you desire. And we're going to be rounding it. So for example, my measurement D for the squares that I need to make is 7 inches. And I want my cardigan to be 26 inches long. So I will need 3 squares to get there. 7 goes into 26 3 times. There's a little bit of leftover. If you wanted it to actually get to that 26 inches, you can also add straight rows to the bottom. Since it's not going to work out to do 4, because then you'd be over by a few inches. That being said, I need 3 squares on each panel, and I also want pockets, so I'm going to be adding 2 squares to that. So I will need 8 squares for the entire front panel pieces. I want to show you really quickly how you will join these pieces. If you've never used continuous join as you go, I did link a very great video on how to do it, but this would be helpful to show you. So obviously, again, these are not the sizes of my cardigan, but I find it to be easy to show you exactly what I'm doing without having to do the whole thing. So you can see here, we have the 3 squares. I did double up on this one because this is going to be the one that has the pocket. So you're going to start here and you're going to do double crochet as you would normally on 3 sides of the square. Once you get to this corner, you're going to chain 2 and join in this square. And then you're going to be doing double crochet on this side and slip stitching back into this square and keeping going all the way up, and it should be like zigzagged a little bit. And so those are joined. Once you do that, continue the rest of this square as normal. When you get to the corner, you're going to do the same thing as you did before, and you're going to chain 2 and you're going to join in through both of these. Once you do that, you're only going to be doing the DC in the bottom square and then slip stitching into this orange guy, this second square. And then when you get to the corner, you're going to go through both again. So once that's joined, then you're going to go through normal DCs through both squares on each side, and then go through normal DCs until the end, and that will join everything, leaving the top open for a pocket. So when you go to do the seaming for the back panel and the front panels, you should obviously have both of your front panels all complete and joined, whether it be with continuous join as you go or with regular sewing. Once you join those together, you should have 3 pieces, the 2 front and the back. How we join them: first off, we're just going to be placing the back panel down on the floor or table, whatever you want, and then we're placing the front panels all the way to the edge of the square. So the edges should line up with each other, and that's going to create those seams. We're not going to seam up this side. The first thing we're going to do is seam up the shoulders from the edge wherever it ends. So you should have space, again, 1/3 open. Once you have the shoulders seamed, you're going to want to try it on. And when you do that, you're gonna see where you need to pin for your armholes. So have somebody else do it if you need, or you can do it yourself. Obviously, the shorter, the closer to your armpit, the smaller the arms will be. The further away, the larger the arms will be. This was a little bit oversized for me. I like it that way. If you want it to be more form-fitting, you can do that. So this is what the sleeve looks like. This yellow part is part of the continuous join as you go around. So this is not part of the sleeve. I started off with the red. When I started the sleeve, all I did was take from that point where I pinned and the top of the shoulder, and I just added the DC clusters to start a straight row of granny squares. I did not decrease at all. I just did a straight row, and this creates a very puffy, little bit oversized sleeve. I prefer that. I think that like a tighter sleeve is a little bit more like constrictive. So I did that the whole time, and then when I reached the cuff, I ran out of yarn, so I wanted it to be a little bit larger. All I did was I added a half double crochet in each of the DC cluster spaces to decrease. You might have to do a little bit more, a little bit less. What I have down is do one in every stitch for 3 stitches, so HDC, 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 and then 2 HDC, and then repeat that all the way around. Once you're done with that, you might see that your front panel is a little bit longer than your back panel. That's because our front panels are obviously rectangular and our back panel is just square. So what I did was with the space that was missing, I just did straight rows across, and then I seamed it here with regular sewing. This might not happen for your cardigan, but if it does, that's how you fix it. Once I was done with everything and I have everything pieced together, all my sleeves done, the cuffs done, everything finished, the last thing I did was I just did a row all the way across. I did not do this on the sleeves, I only did this on the inside and the bottom. And I just did one classic granny square row to kind of join everything together. I feel like it glues all the panels that you either sewed or joined together, just to like solidify that it's one piece. When you're done with that, that's it, you're done.